Hello everyone, welcome to the Storyist. Our ambitions can drive us to achieve even the most difficult goals in our lives. Just like that, Alyssa was finally achieving her goal of becoming a doctor and helping people around her. Alyssa's house job finally came to an end, and she's very excited about her future appointment. But was moving to the destined hospital a good decision for her? Will she be able to pursue her goals or fight for her own survival? To find out more about her, please keep watching this video till the end. As far as her personality is concerned, Alyssa is obsessed with her profession. She doesn't care where she works. Her motive is always to treat her patients right and want them to heal quickly. After impatiently waiting for a month, Alyssa receives her appointment letter. She's been appointed to a small town that she's never heard of before, but she's glad that the place is just a few hours away. She can frequently visit her home on weekends or holidays. After greeting her family and friends, Alyssa moves to the hospital. The first sight is rather terrifying for Alyssa. The hospital is situated in between a heavy, gushing forest. Despite the location being grim, the building is quite ancient, with scraped-off paint and broken windows. Alyssa is surprised to see the ragged situation of the hospital, wondering what would it be like inside. All her life, Alyssa has studied and worked in a topmost hospital in the town. But still, Alyssa shoves off her thoughts and heads inside, with a mindset to help as many people as possible. Unfortunately, the hospital is even dull inside. The corridors are huge and dimly lit, and there was no trace of any life. "How can I help you?" Alyssa jumps and shouts in horror when the receptionist speaks that she ignored in the dark. I'm the new doctor appointed here," Alyssa explains with a smile. But the man is not entertained. He shows Alyssa around the hospital, and she's surprised to find only 2 doctors on board in such a big hospital. There are almost no patients at the moment, except the 2 old people in the emergency. Alyssa finally heads to her residence room that was just located behind the hospital. A few days passed, and all Alyssa had experienced was the cold behavior of her colleagues, though she never knew why everyone was grave in there. They barely had any patients, except the few people who came for a quick checkup and left within the hour. Alyssa missed the crazy buzz of the hospital where she did her house job. There was no time to even sit, and sometimes her shift would stretch to more than 24 hours. Alyssa felt alone here, and sometimes afraid of everyone around her. The empty rooms terrorized her to a huge extent. After the long, boring day, Alyssa heads to her room. When she exits the hospital, she uses her mobile torch for light, as there was no street light around. Alyssa wondered if anyone even knew that this was a hospital. Suddenly, she hears a weird sound around her. She could hear someone stepping close as the grass pressed against their foot. A wave of fear travels in her body, and Alyssa almost runs toward her residency. As she starts to run, someone grabs her leg, and Alyssa is taken aback, falling to the ground. Her mobile falls somewhere away and she couldn't see clearly. "Please help me!" A female voice catches Alyssa's attention. As soon as she throws light on her face, she almost shrieks in terror. The girl is a teenager, and there's a knife stabbed in her stomach. Alyssa hurries up and takes her inside and calls the paramedics. The nurses help her, and she performs an urgent surgery on her. Thankfully, the knife was out and the girl was fine. Alyssa goes out, still shocked by her condition. She looks around and everyone is acting normal, as if this happens every day. After a few minutes of rest, Alyssa heads to the ICU to examine the girl's health, but when she enters, the bed is empty. Worried and fearful, Alyssa tells the receptionist that she is missing. "This is what always happens." "What do you mean?" Alyssa inquires. "Just pray that you stay safe now." The receptionist returns to his computer screen, but Alyssa's heart is not calm anymore. This all seems paranormal to her, and every second in that hospital is difficult for her to spend. Alyssa decides to leave this place as soon as the sun rises. She heads back to her room, carefully examining her surroundings. After she finally entered her room, she took a sigh of relief. She's finally safe, as she thought. Alyssa turns all the lights on, but as soon as she notices the blood drops on the floor, she trembles back as if her soul has left her body. Alyssa clearly remembers the clean floor she left in the morning. Her legs were feeble and she was wheezing, but still followed the blood drops that ended where her bed starts. She turns on the light in her bedroom and screams her lungs out when she finds the same girl on whom she operated lying in her bed. She was even worse now, with her hands and legs drenched in blood. Alyssa runs outside her room and screams for help, but no one comes to her. She never goes inside, but runs back to the hospital with panic in her body, her blood rushing faster every second. Alyssa finally reaches the hospital and closes the door after her. She slides her body down against the door with relief that she has escaped anyhow. She stands up and walks toward the corridor, but finds a figure lying on the bench as if she is sleeping. Alyssa reaches her and calls her out, but the girl doesn't respond. She looks around, and the receptionist is not in sight, so she calls her once again, when suddenly the girl's head turns almost 360 degrees to her body. Alyssa screams once again, seeing her bloodied face. It was the same girl. Her eyes were white and her teeth were out, while blood gushed out of her mouth. Alyssa runs for her life along the corridor, and when she felt like she ran enough to escape, she hears a whisper. She turns around and finds no one, but when she turns back, the girl is standing a foot far from her. "You won't survive," the girl says with a devilish voice, and within a second grabs Alyssa's throat in her hand and picks her up. Alyssa almost chokes to death as her grip was tighter than anything. "Why are you doing this?" Alyssa struggles to speak. "Nobody saved me when I was lying almost dead in here. I won't let anyone live either." And with that, the girl gives the last pinch to her neck, and Alyssa gives up on her life. Now, do you think that the girl's past had something to do with this? Why is her soul still haunting the people in that hospital? I would love to know your thoughts on this. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories like these.